You're watching Alabama's WVUA News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Tamika Alexander. Thanks for joining us. Topping our news tonight, the severe weather across our area. In South Tuscaloosa County, the rain is being blamed for at least one wreck which sent 2 people to the hospital. It happened along Romulus Road near the Romulus community. A father and his 3 children were traveling along the road when he lost control of the vehicle. The car crashed into a tree, injuring the father and one of his children. They were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Several roads are closed tonight in Hale County due to flash flooding. Some of the roads that are closed include County Road 32, County Road 85, along with Highway 25 and parts of Highway 25 between Greensboro and Pleasant Valley. Well, can we expect more rain tonight? For the latest on the situation across West Alabama, we turn now to Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott. Richard, what's the latest? A lot of watches and warnings out there for several parts of our area.
Yeah, to make a good Monday night to you. Active severe weather happening across the state right now, and also flash flooding issues. We'll have several severe thunderstorm warnings and several flash flooding warnings across the area. We'll take you into Pickens County. There has been some tree damage across parts of Highway 82 between Gordo and Reform. Some tree damage reported there, so some straight line winds more likely. That's being the case. Severe thunderstorm warning for much of east and central Pickens County. This cell's drifting off towards the south. Also, we have that flash flood warning in place for Pickens and Tuscaloosa County. So if you drive across a flooded road, do not drive across that. Turn around, don't drown. That's old slogan and a good word of advice there. Other storms out there happening south of us. These are now below severe limits from Greensboro into Marion. And these are also drifting south, and just got done with a severe thunderstorm warning for Greene County. That is now expired as that storm starts to weaken across parts of Greene County. It moves towards the south. Forecast for tomorrow, shower storms going to become possible again. We'll talk much more about your forecast. Plus, we'll look ahead towards the weekend. Weather straight ahead. Stick around.
Thanks, Richard. Local businesses are gearing up for the first home football game, and for restaurant owners, that means making sure the restaurants are properly stocked for the massive crowds coming to the Capstone. WVUA's Travis Leader takes an inside look at what it takes to make sure every stomach is full on a game day weekend.
Football season is here, and local restaurants are getting their game faces on for the anticipated customer increase.
From a typical summer Saturday to a fall Saturday with a game, whether it's on TV or it's in town, it's an increase of close to 100%, almost double.
So how do restaurants know exactly how much food is needed to handle the influx of hungry fans? For some restaurants like Little Italy Pizzeria, it will be a little easier to figure out the second time around.
We keep a log, so we kind of know how much we used last year. I write down how much we went through, and then I'll turn around and I'll pretty much have my group, based on who's coming into town, do so many of whatever we're doing.
And for restaurants in Northport, like the Pottery Grill, they consistently know how much pork they need for each game day weekend.
There's only so many people that you can get in the door and get in the drive-through. We can have Western Kentucky this week and be just as busy as the LSU game.
For Little Italy, though, being closer to the stadium means if there's a marquee matchup, then they will have to bake that many more pizzas.
On the average, we will do 100 pizzas in one day. When Auburn comes into town, I expect to do anywhere from 600 to 700 pizzas that day. So you can see in one day, we might do as much as we do in a full week.
That means long hours for the staff, who may see some overtime compensation during the fall. In Tuscaloosa County, Travis Leader, WVUA News.
Massa says they actually did sell out during last year's LSU game. He had to go outside the store at 2 in the morning to tell the crowd they could not make any more food. Well, as the road to 15 continues for the University of Alabama Crimson Tide, thousands of football fans will pour into Tuscaloosa this weekend for Alabama's first home game of the season. According to Jenna Johnson with Game Day Operations, parking is always a main focus. Johnson says they're encouraging fans to use the downtown area for parking. Parking at the intermodal facility is free, and there will be a bus service to and from Bryant-Denny Stadium for just $1. Johnson says not only is this convenient for fans, but it will also benefit the downtown merchants.
Downtown merchants have really gone all out for this first game. We've got some incredible specials and some special things going on downtown. So if fans haven't tried downtown parking and the bus service from there, we encourage them to do that. It's a great option.
To get more information about game day changes and what you need to know, just go to WVUATV.com and click numbers and links. Well, a new era is about to begin at the Capstone. Dr. Guy Bailey is about to take over as president of the University of Alabama. The Board of Trustees selected the Montgomery native back on July 11th. Bailey is a two-time UA graduate and comes to Alabama from Texas Tech University, where he served as president since 2008. We have a programming note for you. Tomorrow you will hear from Dr. Bailey on all editions of WVUA News at 4, 5, 6, and 10. Well, on your education watch, Labor Day is normally a holiday for schools across the area, but it was business as usual for the Tuscaloosa County school system. School leaders had to take away the Labor Day holiday to make sure students attend the required amount of days this school year. You may recall legislators passed a law requiring schools to start no later than 2 weeks before Labor Day and end by Memorial Day in an effort to increase sales tax revenue during the summer tourism season. Now, we spoke with one area principal who gives us his thoughts on having to work on this holiday.
Anytime you can increase time in the classroom is always a value to that. So it just gives us more time to work on instruction and planning and preparation.
County school officials voted to remove 5 other vacation days, including 2 days off fall break, a parent conference day in October, President's Day, and a weather day in February. And in April, they'll skip a weather day. Well, on your home team crime watch, Tuscaloosa's mass shooting suspect is headed to court. A preliminary hearing for Nathan Wilkins is set for this Friday. A grand jury returned a 68-count indictment against Wilkins. He is charged with attempted murder, assault, and shooting into an occupied building. Police say on July 17, Wilkins shot and injured 18 people at the Copper Top Bar in Timerson Square. Earlier that same night, authorities say he shot and wounded a person at a Northport residence. In all, 19 people were shot. Wilkins is being held on $2 million bond. The University of Alabama has welcomed thousands of freshmen to campus this fall, but how are the new students adjusting? WVUA's Marilyn Vaughn, a student from Huntsville, has this week's Capstone Correspondent report.
Hi, I'm Capstone Correspondent Marilyn Vaughn, a senior majoring in broadcast news. A few campus organizations are interacting with freshmen in a very unique way, through a block party. Black Student Union and the National Panhellenic Council hosted Onyx. This annual event works to connect freshmen with faculty and staff and introduce them to ways to get involved. Kayla James, the president of Black Student Union, says it's good for freshmen to get plugged in on campus.
I think the more involved that you get as a student, the better time you're going to have here at UA.
The organizations involved created a fun environment where students could learn and ask questions.
Honestly didn't know about the minority programs here, and I think this is a great way to show it, to broadcast them.
Not only did new students get informed, they got entertained. But after the upperclassmen stepped off the stage, they were back to giving advice.
If I had any advice for underclassmen, it would be keep your grades up and everything else will follow.
James says this was the organization's biggest block party to date. If you would like to see the University of Alabama through the eyes of a student, go to WVUATV.com. I'm Capstone Correspondent Marilyn Vaughn for WVUA News.
Coping with cancer can be tough on any family, both emotionally and financially, but the road has been especially tough for a Tuscaloosa family. WVUA's Courtney Highfield spoke with local magician Kurt Anderson and his family about how he is dealing with his diagnosis.
There is no question as to whether or not the Anderson family has faced many challenges in the past few years, but they say they make sure from the outside looking in, you would never know.
When you start talking about cancer twice with my wife and our son having epilepsy that's taken his ability to communicate and learn away from him, and then I've had this major surgery and it is precancerous and may turn into something worse and have to have an even more major surgery. It's just an awful lot, and it seems like a big load to put on somebody else.
Kurt Anderson has been performing magic shows for almost 30 years, which is the family's sole income. And with the current economy, the Andersons have struggled to make ends meet.
We've had about 30 weeks of no income because of medical procedures.
At one point this past summer, I did have about 6 part-time jobs, so that was difficult.
Kurt may not always be able to work due to medical reasons, but when he can, his goal is to make other people feel good, which in turn helps him heal.
I think it's part of a healing process for the world in general. If I can share that, you know, I don't know what struggles somebody else goes through life with. I don't know what problems they have, but if I can give them a few minutes break from that, then I've done my job.
Kurt is a very talented magician. The economy will pick back up. We're going to survive, not only with our finances, but with our medical, health, and history, so we'll be okay.
Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Courtney Highfield, WVUA News.
For more information on Kirk's progress and to learn how to help the Anderson family, you can go to facebook.com and search the group name Kurt Anderson Fund. Well, when WVUA News at 10 returns, we will take you to North Carolina and give you a preview of what you can expect during this week's Democratic National Convention. And the Crimson Tide was dominant against Michigan, but Nick Saban predictably isn't heaping praise on his football team just yet. Gary Harris will have the story in Alabama's home team sports.